Anybody with a business, anybody with property, anybody with family should make a will. Basically, it's not a question of age, it's not a question of wealth or position. We've all got money of some sort. The average estate in this country is only about £30,000, which is a life-changing sum of money for most people. But families can fall out bitterly over such sums of money. So it's a question of thinking ahead and just planning for the future. That's why everyone should make a will. If you don't make a will, the legal term for that is called intestacy. And intestacy is quite complicated law to explain in a short space. Basically, there are three sort of scenarios. If you've got a spouse with no children, or a spouse with children, or there's no spouse and no children. They've each got different consequences, so it's difficult to sort of explain. But a couple of things you should notice is that, first of all, it relates to a spouse. So if we've got an unmarried couple, which is very common these days, the danger is that the unmarried partner will receive nothing. So, for example, if you've got an unmarried couple, they've got children from previous relationships, and say the wife died first, her estate will go to her children. The husband will potentially receive nothing at all. So if they want to avoid that possibility, then above all, one of the most vulnerable people involved are unmarried couples. The other point to note about intestacy, if there are no dependents and no family, not many people know this, but the estate will go to the Crown. In other words, the Queen, unless it's in the Duchies of Lancashire or Cornwall, in which case it goes to Prince of Wales. So it doesn't make sense, but that's the way it works. Because there's no written instructions in the form of a will, the law has to make a series of guesses and assumptions, and that is in the form of intestacy. The bottom line is that, yes, people will die, but it's not about death. This is not an exercise in that subject. It's a question of making provision for your family and your loved ones for when you're gone. Once it's done, then it's done. You don't need to look at it again. You should look at it every 4 or 5 years as a matter of review to make sure it's what you want, but you don't need to worry about it anymore. You can get on with your life and do what you like. If only. Sadly, the point is that even on most close-knit families, they fall out. And it's not just about money. Although that's an important factor, it's other things like prints, like knickknacks, like bits of china. These matter a lot to people, and families want them for themselves. If there's no provision in a will, then what should happen is that they're sold, although they've got no intrinsic value at all, and that's put into the pot. What often happens, though, is that the nearest person grabs the item and everyone else gets upset. So even the closest knit family, I've seen it happen, they fall out over stupid things, what other people think are stupid things, but it really matters to them. So yes, families, no matter how close knit they are, often say this, I would get on, we'll sort it out between us, but it doesn't always happen that way. There's a will questionnaire, a will planner on my website, and it's very straightforward questions, and it absolutely gives you a note of the headings you need to think about: who to appoint as executors, who you may want to appoint as guardians of your children, why you need guardians, what you want to dispose of the remainder, what we call the residuary estate, how you want to decide to dispose of that. All good questions, but not something people often think about.